Everyone wants it. Glass skin, filtered skin, dolphin skin, glazed donut skin. What do these trends have in common? It's all about making our skin look smooth, poreless, and hydrated. People are saying this new injectable could be the key to flawless, filtered skin. They say it's like getting an anti-aging facial that lasts 6 months, and that it's like an injectable moisturizer that hydrates and smooths skin and makes skin glow from the inside. Could this be the miracle skincare treatment for youthful glass skin that we've all been waiting for? In this video, we're going to discuss the new injectable by Juvaderm called SkinVive. Stay until the end for a bonus segment where I'll tell you my favorite treatment for glass skin and a hydrated, youthful glow. All right, let's get into it. Hi, my beauties. My name is Dr. Stephanie Kappel, and I'm a board-certified, fellowship-trained cosmetic dermatologist in Newport Beach, California. There's a lot of buzz about this new injectable on the market, but what is SkinVive? And can it really give you the look of filtered skin or glass skin? I'm going to give you my take on SkinVive and what I think the potential benefits and drawbacks are of this new injectable. I'll also tell you whether or not I'm going to bring SkinVive into my office. What is SkinVive? SkinVive by Juvaderm is the first and only micro-droplet HA injectable engineered to improve the texture and smoothness of the skin on the cheeks. I think a lot of doctors are going to be using this off-label for horizontal neck bands, for textured skin in other areas of the face as well, but it's really exciting to have a tool in our toolbox that's an injectable that can be used to improve skin texture. An interesting side note story is I remember about 3 years ago, I was on the advisory board for Allergan, and we had a round table with 20 to 30 of the world leaders and experts and expert aesthetic doctors where we all got together and they asked us, okay, you guys, you have injectables, you have lasers, you have energy-based devices, you have peels, you have microdermabrasion, you have microneedling now, you have microcoring. We didn't have microcoring back then, it was still in clinical trials, but they said, what are you guys lacking and what can we engineer for you? We're Allergan, we're a big company, we can make you what you want, what do you guys need, what's lacking in your industry? A lot of us, including myself, said it would be really cool to have an injectable for texture. So in my practice as a laser expert and specialist, I really am focused on the texture of the skin, the quality of the skin, poreless skin, fine lines, wrinkles, collagen stimulation, that dewy, beautiful, bouncy glow. I felt that we were lacking in having an injectable that can improve textures. Yes, we have lasers to do that, and we have some biostimulatory fillers to do that, and we have some devices that can help with the texture of the skin, and we have peels, but we didn't really have an injectable that was engineered specifically for that. They said, okay, we'll get back to you. Let a couple years pass, and our scientists are going to get to work on it, and lo and behold, 3 years later, we have SkinVive, and SkinVive has actually been in use and approved in Europe, in the UK, I believe, and a lot of my colleagues overseas have been using it with really amazing results and very happy patients. So I'm super excited because it was just launched in the US last week, and so we're incorporating it into our practice, and I'm going to be treating my first few patients, and we'll give you honest and true feedback on what my take on it is. We'll post my before and afters, and if patients are happy or if they're not happy, I'll definitely do a video that's going to describe how people are feeling about the treatment, because I'm non-sponsored, so I can do that, and that really means everything to me and should mean everything to you guys as subscribers or viewers or people who are trying to research this stuff, because a lot of YouTubers are in contract with certain companies, so they have to say they like certain things even if maybe they don't, and I could just speak freely, and I love the fact that I can just do that because I only talk about and discuss treatments that I truly feel are beneficial for my patients. You want honest and true feedback from a physician on YouTube. You don't want a physician who's in contract to say a certain thing or can't say something about another product because a violation of contract. So no contracts here, just honest and true information, and I will get back to you with the feedback on SkinVive when I have a little bit more data. Hi, my beauties, popping in real quick to tell you something new and exciting that I'm going to be incorporating into my content routine. You guys always have such great questions in the comments, but I'm not always able to keep up with all of them. So my team and I decided to implement something we're calling Ask the Doc, where I pick questions from my social media posts and email the answers to you. If you want to get answers to commonly asked questions, then click the link below and sign up for the Ask the Doc emails. Leave your questions in the comments with hashtag AskTheDoc for a chance to have your questions answered through email. How does SkinVive work? So hydration is an important component to overall skin quality. Now, what does that mean? When the skin is textured or wrinkly or withered looking or dry, dull, dusky, it just ages us, or it makes us look unhealthy, or like our skin is unhealthy. But when there is hydration and water binding inside the skin, into those skin cells, the skin smooths out and looks plump and bouncy and beautiful contoured and like donut skin, glass skin, all the poreless looking skin. That's the type of skin that we want. Now, how do we achieve that? Through hydration. So the micro droplets of the HA injectable help bind water. One molecule of hyaluronic acid binds 1,000-fold of itself in water. So that's why all these HA fillers pull water into the skin. Now this is different than HA fillers that you use for nasolabial folds or the marionette lines, or for a lip filler or a tear trough filler, because those are engineered differently and they're injected differently, and they're injected into a different plane than SkinVive is, which is injected more superficially, allowing those skin cells to hold onto water and to smooth the skin for a more supple, bouncy, beautiful texture. So let me show you. So this is the pamphlet that the physicians were given through SkinVive and the injection guide. So I'm going to give you a little histology lesson here. And as a Mohs surgeon, I spent a lot of years, decades looking at skin under the microscope, and this is really fascinating. I'm going to teach you guys like I teach the medical students and the dermatology residents. So if you look up closely, this is the epidermis and this is the dermis. Up here is the papillary dermis and here is the reticular dermis. When you inject SkinVive, you want to be in the dermis right here, and you do it in micro droplets. And when you do it in micro droplets, it allows water and hydration to be pulled into the skin, and that helps lift and smooth this kind of textured epidermis. So remember, in histology, for my little dermatology scientists, you have your epidermis, you have your dermis, you have your subcutaneous fat. Look at those little adipose cells. Look at that little subcutaneous fat right there. So you want to inject it into this dermal plane. So by those little micro droplets being injected into the skin, it just pulls water in and it gives skin that beautiful contour because of all that water being pulled in and all that hydration in the skin. You can also achieve hydration through topicals and hydrators and drinking your water and having healthy skin from within, but this is another added way to get increased hydration to improve the skin texture and quality. So in this injection guide, they kind of have the technique and how to inject, which is actually very easy, but they also demonstrate the different injection patterns. So when you have more textured or wrinkled skin, the injection sites are going to be a little bit closer to one another. And I think that they did them within 0.5 centimeter between one another. And that's when the skin's a little bit more severe with respect to the rhytids or laxity. Rhytids just means wrinkles in dermatology. And the laxity and the texture when it's more severe. But for my beauties who are a little bit less severely textured and just want a little bit added hydration or smoothness or contour to the skin, the injection sites are a little bit wider space, so it's about 1 centimeter in between each injection site, and about 1 to 2 syringes can be used to treat the full face. And it is FDA approved for the cheeks, but a lot of colleagues of mine, and I probably will myself, start injecting the neck and horizontal neck bands, and I'll give you the feedback of what we see and what the results look like and before and after photos and all that in a subsequent video to come. So SkinVive for glass skin, how does that work? Just by the mechanism that I just described before. So the glass skin looks poreless and it looks smooth and non-textured, and this is how that we achieve that look by increasing the water binding capacity of the molecules in the skin. SkinVive for anti-aging skincare. Many may ask, well, do I not need a hydrator anymore? Do I not need a moisturizer anymore? I always like to use the word hydrator instead of moisturizer, and when I engineered my own skincare line, MD Air, I have an NMF hydrator, because hydration means water. Oil and non-water containing substances do not hydrate the skin. It forms an occlusive barrier that can maybe feel nice on the hands when your skin on your fingers touch your face, but the hydration and water molecules inside the skin is what hydrates the skin. So things that are going to upregulate your skin cells' ability to hold on to water is everything. I always tell the medical students and derm residents when I'm teaching, you don't grab your hydro flask at the gym when you're exercising and you're parched and you're dehydrated. You don't grab your hydro flask full of oil or sebum to drink to hydrate your cells. You need water. Your skin cells, your body cells, and your organ systems need water to hydrate. So skin is the same. It's the same type of organ system as other organ systems in our body, and you want to upregulate the skin cells' ability to hold on to water. So if you're using a hydrator or a moisturizer, anything that's going to increase the hydration of the skin, you may need less of it when you have the SkinVive treatments. And that's something that has come up a lot, and I haven't had enough experience with this product, to be honest, to comment on that, especially coming into the fall and winter months. It will be interesting to see if my patients who have drier skin will need less hydration and moisturization in their skin care because, after their SkinVive treatment. And so it's interesting to note though, hyaluronic acid also works for hydration. And Volbella, which is another Allergan product, and again, I'm not in any ties with Allergan, non-sponsored, no contract with them, but they do have a product called Volbella, which is an injectable lip filler. I actually have a little Volbella in my lips myself. And what it does is it increases the skin's hydration. So it actually has FDA approval. Volbella has FDA approval for chapped lips and hydrating the lips. So we know that HA as a filler can be really, really helpful for skin hydration, especially now that we know Volbella is FDA approved and very effective for people with really chapped lips and dry lips. I actually have a few really, I don't know how to describe it, like very rugged mountain man / skiers and men that live in the mountains who come in for Volbella of their lips. So they're coming in for lip filler, and you wouldn't think that a patient like that would be interested in getting lip injections, but I have a few patients that come in and they get lip injections because their lips get so chapped, and it's like an injectable kind of chapstick. So it's interesting to know that HA fillers can do that, and they have such a high binding capacity for water. How long does SkinVive last? So the FDA clinical trials for FDA approval went about 6 months. So supposedly the results of the treatment last about 6 months, and you only need one treatment. It's not like you need multiple or serial treatments. You just need one treatment, and any patient will need anywhere from 1 to 6, I've read. I don't really recommend getting 6 syringes of it. I'm a more conservative injector. I would do 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most, and I probably wouldn't even do 3. And after you get those results, they maintain for about 6 months, and then you may need a repeat treatment after that. So maybe it's something that you do indefinitely to keep your skin hydrated and the texture looking good, or maybe it's something that you just do to power through the dry winter months if you live in an arid climate with low moisturization in the air and the atmosphere to kind of help hydrate your skin if you're not using it for cosmetic uses, but it usually lasts about 6 months. So many patients may ask, how much SkinVive will I need? And like I said, I read that they have not investigated more than 6 syringes at a time, but again, I feel that 6 syringes may be too much. If someone has skin laxity or texture regularities that would require 6 syringes worth of SkinVive, I personally would combine other tightening devices or a laser or something in addition to SkinVive, and I would cut back the amount of syringes that I would give my patient. I probably, without have treating anyone with this yet, would guess that I would use, minimal, probably 1 syringe, but I wouldn't personally use more than 3. But again, that's just me as an injector. I'm a very conservative injector. All my patients look 10 to 15, even sometimes 20 years younger than they are, but look like nothing has been done. And the key to that is being very conservative and doing a very small amount of injectables or whatever procedure you're doing, and then sometimes adding in other procedures to make a more well-rounded, natural looking picture. So a lot of you have asked, would I use SkinVive on my patients? Would I use SkinVive on myself? And the answer is yes. So for myself, I do a lot of lasers. I don't know if I would be a candidate that would benefit from SkinVive because of my use of medical grade products and lasers, but I'm down to try anything, especially if it's a procedure that I'm going to be providing for my patients. I'm always, a guinea pig for myself, and I wouldn't do anything to my skin that I wouldn't do to yours. So because of that, I would be down to try SkinVive, and I may try it, and I'll let you guys know my feedback, and I'll post my own before and afters if I do it. But I definitely think that I want to roll this out for my patients and have this be an available treatment. Again, it all depends on what my experience is with it this upcoming week while we treat our first group of patients, and if it passes the test, which hopefully it does, that'll definitely incorporate it into my practice. SkinVive before and afters. So it's really important to note that the before and after should be taken usually about 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks after the treatment to demonstrate the response. I've read that it takes about a month to fully manifest the results of SkinVive, and then the results last for about 6 months. So you'd want to wait at least a month to show the before and afters. I don't have any of my own personal before and afters, but I will be posting them shortly. And always make sure that when you're looking at before and afters that the lighting is consistent, the positioning is consistent, and make sure that whatever provider is posting these before and afters, it's actually their patients, because you'd be surprised. I've had my own before and afters being stolen from my Instagram and posted on other people's websites. So just be mindful of that, and I'll definitely have some before and afters coming your way once I get patient consent and once I have my experience with this product. SkinVive side effects. So this is all what I've read and what I've heard and what I've heard at our dermatology conferences and talking to my colleagues, and also what has been reported in the literature. So the most common reaction reactions are called injection site reactions. So redness, swelling, tenderness, bruising, sometimes itching, or what we call pruritus. Pruritus in dermatology means itching, and a little discoloration sometimes. So not so much post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, but there may be a discoloration that sometimes happens from what we call hemosiderin, which is an iron component in the blood. If a patient has a bruise, a little hemosiderin deposition can stick around for a couple months and give like a kind of tan discoloration to the skin. Then there has been some overseas reported adverse reactions, including nodules, infections. These are all the not fun ones. I don't think these are very common, and again, these have been reported in the literature overseas, but not in the US. I'm a US dermatologist, so it has not been reported in the United States, but included abscess, which is a form of infection, and there's actually been a documented report of vascular occlusion when it gets in the blood vessel. Again, I believe that this probably happened in maybe an injector that was not performing the technique appropriately, because when you're that superficial, vascular occlusion should be very, very minimal risk. So there have been adverse reactions. What else? There's been unsatisfactory results reported by some, and that just goes with any treatment. I feel it's really important to manage expectations, and if the laxity or severity is too great for just an injectable HA treatment, and maybe something a little bit more robust is needed, like a resurfacing laser or even surgery, then it's really important to manage expectations, because sometimes you can have underwhelming results, but usually that is when a patient wasn't a good candidate for the treatment in the first place. Other adverse reactions that have been reported in Europe and the UK, but not in the US yet, include pruritus or itchiness and dry skin. So dry skin and itchiness was reported, not very much, but was reported in the literature for SkinVive as an adverse reaction. So the injection technique, as we talked about, is a very micro droplet, very superficial technique, and the company recommends to use a 32 gauge needle. So I want to take this opportunity to educate you guys too. When you increase the number of the size of a needle, it gets smaller. So a lot of people, and I remember even when I was in medical school, I'm like, wow, a 32 gauge needle is skinnier than an 18 gauge needle. And the answer is yes. So I also like to empower my patients and give you little tidbits of information. In my office, when I do Botox, I use a 33 gauge needle. We get it imported from Japan and they're expensive, but it makes it a very pleasant experience for the patient, because you don't want your injector using a 30 gauge needle, which is actually very huge and can be very uncomfortable. You want to use a 33 gauge needle, the smallest needles available on the market. Also for SkinVive, they recommend using a 32 gauge needle, which isn't as small as a 33 gauge, but sometimes with hyaluronic acid fillers, they're thicker and viscous, and you want it to be able to push through. You don't want a high extrusion force on the lumen, which is the opening of the needle. I hear myself getting way too scientific now, but I think you guys understand this and you appreciate this information. So always try to have your injector use the smaller needle, and the smaller needle has the higher number. So 32 gauge needle, 33 gauge needle is always better than like a 30 gauge needle or like a 28 gauge needle. And it just depends also on the product being injected, because Botox or a neuromodulator is going to be more watery or thinner than like a high extrusion force, high G prime filler like Voluma, or something that's thicker that you can't inject through a 33 gauge needle. It would never come out, the needle would clog. So hopefully that, is interesting to you guys as well. So I promised you guys at the end of this video, I would tell you my favorite treatments for glass skin, dolphin skin, glazed donut skin, and that poreless skin that we're always chasing. And I always feel that it's important to say managing expectations is really important, and to have these expectations that you need this perfect, beautiful, filtered skin, it's just not really attainable for most people. I mean, we do our best, and most of my patients come in and their skin does look filtered because they take excellent care of their skin, but I always want to manage expectations and not make people feel bad if they're not able to attain this. You do your best and you try to get your skin to the healthiest point possible, where you don't have inflammatory dermatoses, like your acne is under control, seborrheic dermatitis, rosacea, psoriasis, eczema, eczematous dermatitis, whatever your skin ailment is, making sure that that gets corrected. And then having the healthiest skin possible, photoprotecting, using your sunscreen, which will also minimize your risk for skin cancer. So I feel that anything that's going to make our skin look glass skin or healthy, I don't want to use the word poreless skin because I really feel that that's misleading, and we all have pores. Whether they're bigger or smaller will definitely depend on the treatments that we're having in the skincare that we're using and our genetics. But you want to get those pores as small and tight, as close as possible, and that is what we call poreless skin. My favorite treatments for glass skin and a hydrated, youthful glow. These treatments usually occur at the superficial portion of the skin because anything at the superficial portion of the skin is going to resurface the skin or give that glassy, beautiful skin texture. And this comes from lasers, this comes from skincare products, and it comes from certain treatments that are going to do certain things, and I'll explain them to you. Down-regulating sebaceous glands, because big sebaceous glands stretch out the pores and make the pores look larger. It makes the skin not look poreless, but makes it look like they have dilated pores, which gives a more textured look to the skin. We want to shrink down the pores, and the way we do that is we down-regulate the sebaceous gland activity. That happens with lasers, tretinoin, retinol, vitamin C, skincare products, chemical peels, sometimes microdermabrasion, although that's not my favorite. Microneedling doesn't really do a good job of that, but people think it does. Anything that's going to downregulate that sebaceous activity to help decrease the pore size. Also, pores can't close when they're filled with gunk, dirt, oil, makeup debris, dead skin cells, sebum, keratin, and so you want to remove that gunk that's in the pores because the pores can't close if they're filled with stuff. So exfoliating, things that chemically or mechanically exfoliate the pores so that they can finally close, and then down-regulating the sebaceous glands will help cinch that pore close and tight. So I never want to use the word poreless skin because skin's always going to have pores. If you look at skin under the microscope, the histology has a pilosebaceous unit with a column that leads out to the outside of the epidermis, and that is what the pore is. It's actually called the follicular ostia. And if you looked at it head on, it's a circle and there's this collarette of collagen that goes around it. And when you cinch that tight, the pores look so small that they're barely noticeable. And that's what poreless skin is, even though there's still pores. But things that do that, clear and brilliant lasers once a quarter, Fraxel, resurfacing devices, using a tretinoin if you are able to tolerate one, or if not, a retinol, some vitamin A derivative, skincare actives that are going to kind of minimize pore size and give skin that beautiful glass skin texture. Glass skin, dolphin skin, glazed donut skin, what they all have in common is that texture looks smooth and doesn't have pores in it. When it does have pores, we call it puta orange, and that's a medical terminology that we use for skin that has dilated pores. Now, as we get older and as we gain wisdom and have birthdays, the pores stretch out because you have a lot of those sebaceous glands that are increasing in number and size and stretch out the pores. Also, your epidermis and dermis start thinning, and as they start to thin, those pores get stretched out and more obvious. So any irregularities that you have in your skin when you're younger, whether it's acne, scars, pores, size, or texture, it gets exacerbated and more exaggerated as you get older because of those changes that I just mentioned in the skin. So things that are going to reverse that will help give skin a more supple appearance. Resurfacing lasers, medical grade skincare, or even non-medical grade skincare that has retinol in it, or vitamin C, the acids, L-ascorbic acid, azelaic acid, lactic acid, glycolic acid, all the acids that are going to help decrease pore size, shrink down sebaceous glands, downregulate that sebaceous activity, thicken the skin, stimulate collagen, stimulate elastin. There's so many ways to do it, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys with all the different methods to do these things, but it's multifactorial. It's in-office procedures, it's what you do at home, it's living a healthy lifestyle, it's being healthy from within. Our skin is an outward representation of our internal health, and that's really important to remember. I hope you guys loved this video, and I will be getting back to you on my own experience with SkinVive and data, including before and afters of my own patients. So stay tuned for that. And as always, I'm non-sponsored. Thank you so much for watching this video, and share this video or channel with anyone who would value non-sponsored content from a board-certified dermatologist. I've been in practice almost 20 years now, and I've stayed true to that throughout my entire career, and that is my promise to you. All right, you guys, love you so much. See you next week.